Why, hello, Internet! My name is Prunk, and welcome to Week 3 of Yu-Gi-Oh! League. This week, we're driving into the Metal Raiders format, also known as something a little bit cuter called Critter format, where things get a little bit spicier than ever. We're going to take down and break down some of the deck lists, the new ban list that we got updated, all for our Yu-Gi-Oh! League. For those jumping in on episode, was this 3? Um, that's weird. You should go watch episode 1. That's how things work. 1, 2, 3. But if you don't want to and you just want to see my charming face on Metal Raiders info, well, Yu-Gi-Oh! League is all about a 8-player round robin tournament style bracket that we all earn votes by participating in matches against each other each week. A game played will earn you 1 vote. A win will earn you 2 votes. We use these votes to move cards up and down a ban list and customize the format to our individual liking. So it's a little bit different from History of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because we get to have a lot more control on what cards are in and off the ban list. And it's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Mixed with diplomacy. Now, with that said, the votes are in, and we got an interesting ban list after week 2. Let's see how it goes. All right, week 2, Metal Raiders League ban list. As you can kind of see, we got some new changes. This is going to be a little bit easier to go like this, though. I have this nice little doc that I've been kind of keeping it up, and we'll get to play this off a little bit. Now, things that have changed. We've decided as a group to remove Lord of D and Wabaku off of the list completely, putting it back at 3 copies. We had some players using unbanned votes for the first time and getting to just help clean off some of the jankier stuff that really shouldn't be on there. So with that said, we also got a lot of things that are some just new cards on the list, and we have some things that we're just casually bumping up as well, because as things start to power creep, they're not going to want to be on the list for long. New cards would be things like Just Desserts being hit onto the list, just something a little bit hit for burn. It wasn't too impactful. I don't think that was a necessary card to be putting on the list in the first place, but that wasn't me. We have Fisher, who was up from limited. Reinforcements, Summon Skull, and the Trap Hole card. So a couple extra removal options, all getting off of the limited list and just putting it to 2 copies. I kind of went through, I kind of dedicated myself to be the cleanup man and using my votes to unban as many cards that I just didn't feel like were needed. So I put all those cards up and tried to unlimiting them. I just felt like I wanted a cleaner format, so we got rid of some of the jankier stuff that shouldn't be on there. It'll take me some time to get those cards off the list, especially because one of the players ends up purposely trying to go against me, who wants certain things on the list. But hey, that's how this format's going. Left leg of the Forbidden One hit on a semi-limited scale. Apparently, 1 vote for a left leg was all it was needed to help nerf Exodia. Maneater Bug was previously banned. A lot of people felt like that was dumb. We should put Maneater Bug back into the format, and he is now at 2 copies. So going from a banned card to a semi-limited this list. We have Neo back on the list, so putting up another 1700. We have 7-colored fish coming in, so some of the 1700 vanilla is just not really necessarily to be on the list anymore. Pot of Greed put down to 1 perfectly. We had a lot of players who were voting and decided to not to ban Pot because they all expected other players to ban Pot, which was great. So we actually got to enjoy Pot of Greed at 1, which everyone was really happy about, or at least I thought everybody was really happy about. That'll be some shadows or foresight in the future. But Pot of Greed sitting at 1, perfectly acceptable for this format. We were all pretty happy that it landed here, except for 1. D-Spell, semi-limited, got hit with another ban, which again was super interesting because it just never came up. Having no back row removal or field removal was pretty iffy. We are playing with Master Rules 1 where fields did remove other fields, so that was interesting as well, but D-Spell getting hit again was confusing to me at the time. Monster Reborn was banned. We decided to bring it back. It just got overhit. I used my unvote to just keep it in the format a little bit longer, just because having it as a nice 1 of is fine. Having it at 3 of is insane, but I think that a 1 of is completely okay. Acid Trap Hole went down from 3 copies down to 1 copy, which is acceptable at this stage. It did put in a lot of work. It did cause some flip effects. One of my favorite things was just to get off the big walls. If you expected them to have a big wall, then you play Acid Trap Hole and it removes them. It was a card that was great for the format. I don't think it needed to go down to 1, and it'll be corrected. I think it was just because all the votes are random and you don't know who's hitting what, there wasn't too much communication. So we some players opted just to hit this card and see if anybody would actually do it. It wasn't a card that was overly discussed because nobody really thought anybody else would hit it. And overall, I think it was good. Lajin went to 1 as well. Some players decided to get it off the super ban list, and we're going to put it down to 1 copy. We went in and got Swords of Revealing Life, who ended up getting from 3 copies to a 0 exactly. Getting hit with 3 votes. Kind of felt bad. I'm perfectly okay with it because I personally hate stall decks. They're not fun to me. They're not interactive usually. So I was perfectly fine with seeing Wall of Revealing Light down to, or Swords of Revealing Light to no copies of this format. But we'll probably have to adjust that later on. We don't want that a permanent thing. Wall of Illusion was super banned, bumping it up a little bit. It had a -1 last time. So it'll take another week or so before that card's back off the list altogether. Metal Morph, easily. That one we kind of expected to go. I'm surprised it only got hit by 3 people, though. This card almost didn't hit the ban list. Change of Heart and Regeki. So Regeki being our most hated card, 7 votes on Regeki. So 7 players all opted to hit Regeki. And unfortunately, we ended up losing a player during this week. One player who just wasn't able to participate. We ended up removing them from the form. Oh, no, we didn't remove them this way. How did that one just not get hit? Yeah, somebody just decided not to hit that one. Never mind. That's the next week. So we did end up losing some players in the future, but we managed to replace them quickly. But hey, 7 bans on Regeki. We don't see this card coming back anytime soon. So with Metal Raiders out, we decided to opt in with like the tournament pack cards as well, which brings in cards like Mechanical Chaser. So anybody who doesn't know this card from the history of Yu-Gi-Oh, this was like $1,000 Yu-Gi-Oh card at some point. It was just an insane card you can only pull from tournament packs. And if you had a playset of these, you had a massive advantage over everybody else. That 1850 beat stick, this card ruined Yu-Gi-Oh. So we added it into our list. Being an 1850 attacker, we had to get Lajin off the ban list. And this card kind of dominated the format quite a bit as well. Kind of expected. It was just the strongest card you could normal summon, and it put in the work a lot. So back to the list a little bit though. Regeki getting hit by 7 out of 8 players. It was safe to say the card wasn't just coming anytime soon. Metamorph and Swords of Revealing Life were just too dominant, going from 3 copies to 0. La Jin, who was previously banned, now that Mechanical Chaser was coming out, so there was no reason to really keep him on the list. We just wanted him gone for 1 week, and he'll probably be off the list completely as well. But him putting at 1 is is fine. I was kind of hoping some more people would vote to unban some cards too, but a lot of people were focused in on hitting things. Man-Eater Bug, back to 2 copies. Again, we talked about that. Dark Hole and Fissure. So we had some interesting vote battles going on. So Dark Hole and Fissure were actually hotly contested. Dark Hole ended up with 2 votes to ban and 3 to unban, putting it at keeping it at the limited list. I'm sorry, 2 votes for, 2 votes against. So it ended up just staying put at 1. So even though it hasn't changed on the list, there was a card that was targeted. Some players wanted just to ban it outright, which I'm really glad that we had 2 people to focus on unbanning it because we wanted to protect it. I think that Dark Hole is a necessary evil, especially in early format. Early Yu-Gi-Oh! I think 1 of is completely acceptable. I don't want to see 3 copies of this card ever. I don't want to see 2 copies of this card ever. But having that 1 top deck of a Dark Hole or saving that Dark Hole is just, I felt like really important. So we had 2 versus 2. That one got to stay put. As far as Fissure goes, Fissure was the one that I believe was down to 1. Was it 1 copy? Yeah, it was down to 1 copy. That one had the voting war. That one went from, we had 2 people vote towards it, but 3 people try and unban it. So some people really hated like the actual spell card removals, and I felt that was interesting. But that one, even though it received 2 votes to ban, it received 3 votes to unban, and that caused it a net semi-unlimited, which was perfectly fine, and I think a lot happier for the format. So let's talk about the actual deck lists. One of the coolest ones that I saw so from the tournament packs, Mechanical Chaser is obviously the one everyone remembers, but we had a couple cards that acted as fusion materials as well, and that caused this list right here, which was super cool and for the idea. It did all right. It won like 3 out of 4 games, but Thunder Dragon, Polymerization, like fusion, was a really cool deck list that I just straight up was not expecting. Seeing 3 cannon soldiers, 3 of these witch guys. I forgot their names and I can't zoom in too well for it. Where are you at? Let me just zoom in. I can't even zoom in for some reason. Okay, anyway. But 3 of these witch guys that acted as fusion substitutes. 1 magician of faith, which was interesting. You would have expected more, but I think he was just kind of cleaning up room. 2 man-eater bugs, 1 Muka Muka, which is hilarious. I love Muka Muka. 2 Sandgan, 3 Thunder Dragons. Another one of the fusion substitute cards. It's a little bit different. Witch of the Black Forest, and 3 Mechanical Chasers. This deck list was very unique. Able to summon out Thunder Dragons. Um, Great strategy. Can Soldier was actually pretty clutch as well. And I know that he beat me one of the games because of Can Soldier. Really, really cool and unique list. It was great to see. More Thunder Dragons, more Mechanical Chasers. This one had a Muka Muka engine going, or just playing 3 copies of Muka Muka, getting some card advantage off of the Thunder Dragons. I love Muka Muka. I can't ever complain. But having a little bit more of the discard heavy stuff in here, which is great. And pretty common list from what I kind of expected. One of the more focused. This one had the 3 fish, 1 Lajin, just straight beatdowns. This one did also have the triple polymerization stuff going on. I don't think it actually resolved poly though, because I don't think it can resolve poly. I gotta look up this card. 1 second. All right, Goddess with the third eye. This card can be used as a substitute for any 1 fusion material mentioned by name on a fusion monster, but the other materials must be correct. Yeah, so that deck list couldn't actually resolve. Oh, he was going for Black Skull Dragon. That's why. Duh. Okay. So, yeah, like Goddess of Third Eye was an interesting card. If you're playing like the polymerization, you can do the Thunder Dragon. I think this list, yeah, this list has goal was to summon out the dragon, like the Black Skull Dragon. I think this deck list could have definitely thrown, instead of deep seated, throw those as Thunder Dragons, and I think it could have been actually more competitive, just to have a little bit more of a consistent fusion engine. But overall, interesting take on the build as well. This one was my list personally. I played a little bit more of the beatdown, but I had the hand destruction cards as well with Magical Servant. I just threw Thunder Dragons in there because I was originally going to play them, but I opted against it. But just again, focused into more of a beatdown, but having some hand control with the Magical Hat. It's just a nice like normal summon if you already have an open board state, so why not? Opting into only playing 2 Heavy Storm because I don't know why. I should probably play 3. Another list right here: Thunder Dragons. Again, the 1 copy of Polymerization, triple Mechanical Chaser, double head. Like this, pretty solid list I think right here as well. Exodia with the smoke screen into the beatdown stuff. Again, people were kind of afraid of card destruction because if people were going to be main decking that. I think it was interesting to even try it because there are some removal cards. I was playing the white magical hats, so I wasn't going to be afraid of Exodia one way or the other, and I kind of had myself prepared for it. But some players wanted to try and sneak in Exodia. So unfortunately, this week though was kind of disappointing in terms of votes. We ended up losing a player, and I'm sorry, we ended up losing like 2 players I think this week, and we only ended up was it 30? Yeah, 33 votes here. So really kind of disappointing. Unfortunately, I was really hoping to see a little bit more precision. I wasn't expecting the players to go so. We went from really really high of like 3 weeks in a row to the lowest we've had in the format so far. So we were hoping to recover. We ended up recruiting some other players into the format as well. So I'm excited for see how they get too. And overall, we didn't get in a total of 33 votes. The list isn't going to change too much, unfortunately, because of that. Well, I mean, 33 votes, that's still a lot of up and downs. We'll find out exactly how that changes over, but it's a little disappointing because that was a low format. And honestly, that format was really, really fun. I think that was a very healthy format. All the games felt really good. Nobody won from a blowout. There were some unique deck lists that were available. So it's kind of disappointing that we had a few players that just couldn't play or didn't want to play or just ghosted us. But that's kind of what you expect for some online games, unfortunately. You just can't control everybody. So we'll see how that changes the ban list for the next set. As far as our number ones, we had Lol and Prunk, myself, kind of competing for that number 1 spot. We both played 4 games. We both won 3 games. He beat me, though, so technically he wins in terms of ladder. Let's see if I look right here. I'm pretty sure he beat me and Ravner beat him. Yeah. I lost to Lol, and Lowell lost to Ravener, and I beat Ravener. You'll see that as kind of a trend for these early weeks. The three of us are probably like some of the more consistent players, and I think we have a very fun triangle going on for a little while. That is going to do this week, guys. Thank you so much. If you want us to keep seeing these little dev diaries, then like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. If you are interested in joining the league, let me know. We are trying to get in a second league going. If you want to commit some time and get involved with our community, we'd love to have you. Peace out, y'all.